And welcome to our 59th consecutive monthly broadcast on how to purchase new releases. Today is September 30th, 2015. I'm Bob Tellini from Indianapolis, and I'm with Mark from California. Ken cannot make it with us today because of a personal issue, but hopefully he joins us next month. Let's look at a macro look at November. An average is $900 million, and this is $800 million, and this is a relatively small month for November, but we had a huge October, and we're going to have a very large December. So if you look at the 3 months together, it's your typical great fourth quarter. But I would advise you not to spend over the budget or even a little bit less. Here's a tip sheet that I publish. In this report, we always use the last column, a store that buys $60,000 a year or $5,000 a month. You obviously can use a column that's relevant to you. Our first title, November 3rd, Inside Out. This is the 15th Pixar title. All the Pixar titles have been commercially and artistically successful. This is no different. This is a terrific movie. My recommended buy is 20 to 30. Mark?
Yeah, I wanted to address that box office, the aggregate box office, because it gets distorted anymore, and this is a perfect example. So many movies are near or at $500 million, and so it really makes it tougher and tougher, and that's why we're here to try to help you sort it out. And just a reminder, Redbox does slam the first week. They're doing it again each month now with all the independent titles. Inside Out is a lock. It's a max buy for animation. Mine would be 4 shelves. No question, this is a really good movie. Appeals to adults. Good thing about these family-oriented Pixar, Disney flicks is they're very easy to sell off. So you can, hit that number harder if you feel like it. And this is normally when, especially when it's PG, this is normally when I say Ken, but I'm going to go back to you, Bob.
Okay. Just for the viewer's information, a shelf is 7 copies. So when Mark just said 4 shelves, he means 28. Title is Vacation. Has a 28-day window because it's a Warner title. This is going to be a very good title because everyone has seen the original Vacation numerous times. It was released over 30 years ago. It's been a favorite. This is the same type of movie. It's a comedy. It'll do very nicely. Recommended buy is 15 to 25. Mark?
Yeah, no question. The whole Vacation franchise has really reached cult classic status. Critics lampoon this, but that won't matter. And it's the raunchy toilet humor, mature family comedy, just like the original was. Even though it was done 30 years ago, 28-day window is really nice. This is the only non-animated major box office release of the first week, so I'd go to the high end of Bob's number. That looks perfect to me, Bob.
Okay, we have some hidden gems titles. These are titles that are recommended by retailers, and you're going to start to see some. This is independent product. The first one is Best of Enemies. It has a 900,000 box office, but it'll easily go over $1 million. It's still playing. Timely subject, the campaign, very famous debate, very excellent scores. Every store should have this. Mark?
Yeah, when one look at that box cover, and when you see every store should have this, they're going to go, right. But you know what? You'd think this would be strictly for intellectuals or political junkies, but it does have sexual content and nudity, so keep that in mind if you're wondering about it. I agree. Every store should have it. It's really good. It's R-rated, and, that sexual content and nudity is definitely going to help it rent. What do you think, Bob?
Yes. Okay, the second title, Seymour, an introduction. It's another documentary. This is a Hidden Gems as well as a Heartland Picture Award winner. This fabulous documentary about a very old man, 90 years old, who is a concert pianist and a teacher, and half the documentary is on piano playing and artistry, and the other half is his philosophy of life. Fascinating stuff. It'll make your store smarter. Mark?
It It will, and it is fascinating. And two highly rated, critically acclaimed docs the same week. But that pushes it. But maybe move it to the next week, but still pick it up. This is the better one of the two, in my opinion. But like I say, push one of them to another week, and you got your store smart 2 weeks in a row.
Okay, Tiger House. This is another hidden gem. This is an oft-told story. A woman against four bad guys, etc., etc. Nice sleeve. I think this sleeve is going to make this title run. Mark?
Yeah, I just wish that DB wasn't so low, but this looks like very rentable to me. This Ed Skrein guy, he's the new face on the Transporter franchise, and he does a pretty good job, so everybody's going to get familiar with him. This is a violent, suspenseful Swiss cheese thriller, so it's going to rent. 2 copies.
The end of the tour. Now, what Mark was saying before, we're going to run into independent after independent after independent movie on November 3rd. And the reason we're told is that Redbox asks for it to be done this way, and then Redbox places the titles throughout the month. It's evidently an easier way for them to handle product logistically. Just makes no logical sense unless you understand that. Okay, first, the end of the tour, $2.3 million, has 2 stars, has great scores, kind of a talky drama, but I think this will go if the story should have it. Mark?
Right, there's no way of getting around that this is a talky drama, and even the cover screams that, But, the ones that have seen it, they really like this movie, and the critics did too. The challenge here is to make this movie look interesting. I don't know exactly how you do that, but, maybe put a recommended sticker on it, but 2 to 3 copies for sure.
Matter of faith, $0.6 million PG. This is, I hate to say, typical Christian fare, and you should buy it based on the market in your store for that. Mark?
Yeah, it seems like we're getting a steady flow of these Christian inspirational films anymore, but they do have their market. Very low IMDb again, but you know what your market is with this stuff, so buy accordingly.
Taking for Fire. Interesting cast. Hard to describe movie. This artwork, I don't understand it. I think it's negative in terms of commerce.
Absolutely agree. Barely can understand you. I hope it's just on my end, Bob. You're very broken up, but you're right. Horrible box art. Terrific cast. If they don't change the box art, I wouldn't waste much shelf space on this one. But if they do, it's definitely worth support. Bob?
She's going that way. Great cast, romantic comedy, good genre, good sleeve. It shows the cast. She gets this one. Can you hear me, Mark?
Talk about a terrific cast. You're right. This is a terrific cast. World-renowned Academy Award-nominated director. This is a manic R-rated Woody Allen type, comedy. It has its appeal. So 1 or 2 copies, definitely.
Before we go, Chris Evans' vehicle. This is the first movie Chris Evans has ever directed. Romantic comedy again. I think it'll go because of Chris Evans. Mark?
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with that. And again, we're getting hammered this first week, so consider taking some of these pretty good-looking indies and moving them to another week if it suits your budget and your desires. So I agree that he's going to sell this. It's a love story. It's smart and satisfying, and it should definitely satisfy some picky customers. I like this one.
We're on the second Tuesday of the month. This is 30 to 40 by maximum buy. This is perfect for video. I would copy this. I just came out this way in case it's going to be a terrific runner. Mark?
Bridesmaids would be a better comp in my opinion, but you're probably right. The box office is impressive. That 28-day window is huge. The movie is funny and crude, touching and crude. dramatic and crude. Very, very crude. I mean, this is not for everybody. This pushes the envelope. It is really crude. I laughed, but I was squirmed as well. So just keep that in mind. It really deserves that R rating, But I agree, you know what? It's probably a max buy.
Well, I did think of genre romantic sport. Terminator Genesis. Maximum buy, 28-day window.
Sweet spot box office, 28-day window, again, is huge. Big-time franchise recognition, title recognition. Arnold on the cover. What's not to love? To me, this is, without a doubt, a max buy, and it's an easy call.
Mr. Holmes, this is a movie that they expected to do far less than this, and this movie has lasted in the theater week after week after week. This is a good title. I think the 13th recommended by Mark.
You know what? I like this movie a lot. It's slow. It's British. And in my opinion, all you need is 3 to 5 copies. And I'm telling you, I like this movie a lot, but it is not for everybody. But you will have its following. But it is slow. It is British. On a note, Bob, I just got a text from Jennifer, and she said you're breaking up horribly on her end as well. Just to let you know, I don't know what you want to do.
Okay, I'm going to click to the next screen. Take it from there, and I'll switch phones.
Okay. Okay, so I'm on my own. This is the first. Selfless, this is a studio-wide release futuristic thriller. It never really found its audience, but the fact that it's going to be cross-promoted on Trainwreck, that makes it huge to me. I think 2 shows would work very well here.
I am back. How do I sound?
Much better. So what do you have to say about Selfless?
I recommended by 9 to 13, 28-day window. Interesting title, good stars, solid title. Let's move on.
Okay.
Tangerine, hidden gem, very kinky, weird movie. Interesting. It was shot on 3 iPhones. This was a Sundance darling. It's a unique movie. This is going to be a good runner. Mark?
Well, you know what? I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, it's raw, vulgar, in-your-face, gritty drama. Dramedy. It's funny too. It's not for everybody, but it's very well done. It's not easy. Kind of a little bit in the vein of Kids, which is one of the all-time ROI cult classics ever on video. This is a special one. Do not miss this, and do not just go single copy on this.
Hey, the Ghost. What would a month be without a Nicolas Cage movie? We have one for you. It's Nicolas Cage by a couple. Mark?
Yeah, he has to be the most prolific direct-to-DVD main box office star of all time, right? I like the box art. I like the box art with his face on the cover. Most of you know how these things perform for you. Take a look at what his Nicolas Cage's Rage did for you last year, and probably go with that number.
Man from Uncle. We're on the 3rd Tuesday of the month. Recommended by is 14 to 22. Has a 28-day window. We don't know what the official cover looks like, but we'll just trust Warner of having a good one. This will be a solid runner. It'll do what a $50 million film should do. Mark?
Yeah, I agree with that part of it. We've always had this conversation. Why do they take these 60s TV series or 60s movies and remake them and think that they have a built-in audience? I don't know. I think they're starved for creative ideas or something. I was a little disappointed on this, but I don't think that will matter. It was still entertaining, like Bob said. The 28-day window was nice. It's the only major theatrical release of the 3rd week. And it is somewhat entertaining. And if you're not expecting the real great man from Uncle's smart stuff, you're going to probably be happy. I would say definitely high end of that number. And because it's the only major title of this week, you might want to bump it even to the 4th shelf.
The Stanford Prison Experiment. Billy Crudup has a star. Interesting story. Interesting premise. I've read about this, the actual Stanford Prison Experiment many times. It basically says you can take an average person and make them into a very cruel person very easily, and that's what this movie is about.
was also nominated for the Sundance Grand Jury Prize, which is a pretty big deal. Very good reviews, and like Bob just said, that concept is fascinating. One or two for sure.
Jimmy's Hall. I don't know much about this movie. It's basically a movie about the 1930s. An Irishman goes back to Ireland and is a socialist and fights to cause other people. I guess it's worth one or two, Mark.
Oh, for sure. It's got pretty good consumer reviews of the people that have seen it. It's a Depression era period piece. Irish, Britain, UK, that has a built-in audience. I like that stuff. I'd say 2 or 3 copies sounds about right to me.
November 17th, still trash. This movie is half in Portuguese and half in English, so it has to be subtitled. It has 2 good stars, Rooney Mara and Martin Sheen. I think it's going to be released theatrical. It has gotten a lot of interesting reviews, and I think they'll try to make it an art house with a little bit of legs. So this definitely is worth 2-3 copies. Mark?
Right, and as you mentioned, it's half foreign language. But when really good foreign language films are in half English, you can really get crossover for it. This was actually nominated for Best Foreign Language Film at the British Academy Awards. Was one of their nominees. So if you're not confused enough, Rooney Mara was the star of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. So, it's certainly worth a couple of copies, and you're right, October 9th is the limited theatrical release, so this is definitely one you need to put on your shelf.
Mark, Rooney Mara is the daughter of the former owner of the New York Giants. Let's get her title correct.
That's true, and the Giants did win their last game.
Okay, No Escape. Last Tuesday of the month, or this could be in December, I don't know. But this would be the lead title if it's November 24th. Got good scores, got an interesting premise. Owen Wilson, Pierce Bronson, 12 to 16. Mark?
Absolutely perfect for home entertainment. I like the box art and the box office. That's a good sweet spot for me. I saw this, it does, and again, the Swiss cheese, it's got holes in the plot, but it was so suspenseful. I actually yelled at the screen once, I'm telling you, it is so suspenseful. It's at your edge of your seat, like, if you can overlook the holes, the other part really, really worked. This is going to have a word of mouth. This will went very, very well. At least 3 shows for me.
Ricky and the Flash. 12 to 16 is my recommendation. Didn't get terribly good reviews, didn't get good scores, but it's Meryl Streep, and this will be a solid runner because of Meryl Streep. And hopefully the sleeve looks something like this tentative sleeve. Mark?
Yeah, I don't mind the sleeve at all. I'm probably the top 10 largest fans of Meryl Streep on the planet, and this is my least favorite Meryl Streep movie I ever saw. I had high expectations. I was so disappointed. But, it's Meryl Streep. It's got, almost 30 million box office. This is going to rent. I don't care. 2 shows minimum.
Shaun the Sheep movie, animation, good scores, entertaining for the kids, PG. What's nice about this movie is that a lot of kids haven't seen it. It wasn't a big hit, so therefore it'll be a solid runner. My recommended buy is 9 to 13. Mark?
Yeah, overseas in the UK, a lot of kids really like this. Really, these have never really big time caught on here like they thought they were. Huge budgets all the time. These Wallace and Gromit type claymation movies are hysterical. I love them. It's not just for the kids, but this did 3 times the box office overseas as it did here, just like I was saying. Check out how Curse of the Were-Rabbit or Freebirds did for you, and keep that in mind. And also, this is narration only. In other words, they don't actually, these sheep aren't actually speaking. You're only hearing what they're thinking. So that was an interesting, daring thing to do. It's a tough call, but, look what Freebirds or Were-Rabbit did for you.
American Ultra. I think this is the last title for the month that we're going to go over. Jesse Eisenberg, second Jesse Eisenberg title of the month. Kristen Stewart, good and others, good cast. A Stoner movie. This will be a solid runner. Recommended by 9 to 13. Mark?
Absolutely. Throw out that 6.3. That's just a joke. I don't know what the formula is. Most people gave it a 7 or higher. I gave it an 8. So good. It is a stoner movie, but a smart, witty way. It's action-packed. It's spy. It's action-packed, action-packed, action-packed. It's funny. It moves quickly. This is a max buy on Rentrack, Volvo, or whatever. I know Rentrack just got bought out, so I don't know if Volvo's going to stand alone, but if you're revenue sharing, max your buyout. Otherwise, at least 3 shells. This is really, really good, and for everyone.
Okay, the assumptions we do not go over anymore. I do want to say one thing, and I should have said in the beginning, that Mark and I do not rehearse this, and we're not trying to agree with each other. So that's why you'll hear Mark say one thing and I'll say another. And we do that so it makes it interesting for you. See, we have to stop and say, well, I'm going to side with one or the other or somewhere in between, and that's up to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a shout out to Ken. We missed you, buddy, and I hope your wife's heals Godspeed, man.
Ken, we missed you. I hope you come back next month. Thanks a lot, Mark, and until
Thank you, Bob.
Bye.
Bye-bye.